Dune takes place in the year 10,191. Humans have figured out many of the universe's mysteries and can now travel from one planet to another. Multiple planets have become nations, and they are all run by the same Padisha Emperor, Shaddam Carino IV. The planets are ruled by dukes who live in their own houses and are answerable to the Emperor Shaddam. This includes the planet of Arrakis. Strange stuff called spice can only be found on this harsh desert planet. Spice is an important element that makes people live longer and is needed for travel between stars. Because of this, Arrakis is thought to be the most valuable planet in the universe, even though it is very harsh there. The noble houses want to rule the planet because of this. At the start of the movie, a person from Arrakis named Chani says that the noble House Harkonnen has been in charge for a very long time. House Harkonnen is mean to the people who live in Arrakis, but the poor people who live there can't fight House Harkonnen because it is controlled by Emperor Shaddam. Chani says House Harkonnen troops will leave Arrakis one day. She is sure that the Emperor will send someone else to use their resources instead of them. Now we shift to a different planet called Caladan, which is ruled by the House of Atreides. Paul, the Prince of Atreides, wakes up from a dream that keeps coming back to him. During breakfast, he talks with his mother, Lady Jessica, who is also a member of the Bene Gesserit. Bene Gesserit is a limited sisterhood organization whose members are very smart and physically strong. Jessica can also control other people's minds because of this. She has been teaching Paul the rules of the organization for a very long time. Also, Paul can see the future and has other abilities that he still does not know about. Leto, Paul's father and the Duke of House Atreides, has a very important meeting with people from the Landsraad. This is the political body that represents all the noble houses. There greets the important people who have come with a note from Emperor Shaddam. The Emperor wants Atreides to take the place of House Harkonnen. To get the spice from Arrakis, he wants Leto and his army to be in charge. The situation worries Duke Leto, but he does what the Emperor says. Jessica sees Gaius Helen Mahim, a member of the Bene Gesserit group, staring at Paul while they are in the meeting. When Leto makes a seal with his ring, the meeting is over. This means that everyone agrees to do what they are told and go to Arrakis. The next scene shows Atreides' army getting ready to go to Arrakis. Paul's best friend and the troop's bravest soldier is named Duncan. Paul is worried because he keeps seeing Duncan's death in Arrakis in his dreams. Duncan tells him he'll be okay and then goes to the planet to get ready for Paul and his family to arrive. Paul and his father Leto are seen talking about different things. Leto explains that he has no desire to gain wealth with the spice, instead, he wants to befriend Arrakis' freemen. He plans to treat the freemen with respect, unlike the old Duke Harkonnen, so they can help Atreides. Later, Paul and his partner, Halleck, practice a duel. Their wrist has a device that covers their body with a protective force. When they get to Arrakis, Halleck tells Paul to be careful because he thinks the envious Harkonnen will attack them. In another location, Duke Baron and his rogue nephew Rabban are talking in the House of Harkonnen about their last ship leaving Arrakis and leaving the planet to the Atreides. When the Emperor took them off of Arrakis and gave it to the Atreides, Rabban made fun of him. But he is shocked when Baron tells him that the Emperor wants to destroy the Atreides because he doesn't like how popular they are becoming. His plan is to kill Leto and all of his men while they are in Arrakis digging for spice. Jessica wakes up Paul and takes him to the doctor to have his vital signs checked. The Reverend Mother Gaius Helen Mahim has learned about Paul's visions and wants to see if he is the one they have been waiting for. She tests his impulse control by having him put his hands on a box and he passes with excellent results. After Mahim goes, Jessica tells Paul that Bene Gesserit, a group of women leading politics from the shadows for years. They also carefully crossed bloodlines with the purpose to give birth to the one man capable of saving Arrakis from spice exploitation. According to the test he just passed, Paul is the Messiah of Arrakis they have been looking for. It's the next day when Leto, Paul, Jessica and their troops leave for Arrakis and arrive there. They are greeted by the native freemen, who have already been told that Paul is their Messiah, even though Paul himself doesn't believe it. After that, he is in his room learning about a huge sandworm that was found in Arrakis. Freemen walk strangely in the sand to avoid it. A poisonous insect emerges from a wall and attacks Paul while he watches holograms and Paul survives. Apparently, a Harkonnen soldier was hiding in the walls to kill Paul. The scene shifts to Baron and Mahim arguing. The Emperor told her to ignore the Emperor and Baron's plan to attack Atreides. However, she asks Baron to leave Paul and Jessica. Baron will throw them in the sand with the sandworms to kill them. Back on Arrakis, Government officials discuss how to get the spices. They find out that the Harkonnens left them with broken tools, which sets them up to fail. Paul reunites with Duncan. Duncan was sent to prepare. Duncan claims to have lived in deserts with Freeman for 4 weeks. He informs them about the Sietch community and Stilgar, their leader, so they can survive. Stilgar also met Leto. Leto encourages him to work with the Atreides, but Stilgar mocks him for taking their land without paying them. Before they part ways, Leto promises that he will never hurt the Sietches. The next day, Leto and his team check out the spice sand that they are going to mine. There is a Freeman and an Imperial ecologist named Dr. Liet Kynes that they meet. She checks to see if Leto's sand suit is still in good shape. The suit is supposed to turn a person's sweat and urine into drinking water. While checking out Paul's suit, Kynes notices that he already knows how Freeman wears suits, even though this is Paul's first time. She thinks of a prophecy that says their Messiah will know how they live even though he is from another country. Kynes also thinks Paul is the one. After that, they all left to look at the spice sand. While they are sightseeing, they see 2 sandworms moving toward the machine that mining for spices. It looks like this happens all the time because a carrier is sent to lift the harvester out of the worm's reach. But the anchor on the carrier breaks, so it can't lift the machine. The worms are about to kill the crew who are inside the harvester. Leto quickly comes up with a plan and tells everyone to get their planes closer to the machine and load the crew on board. Their landing on the sand comes just in time to save the crew from the worm. But Paul gets a vision when he smells spice during the process. He is still dizzy when he gets home, so the doctor figures it must be an allergy. Though Paul says he saw a Freeman girl in his dream, and he is sure it wasn't an allergy. Also, he tells Jessica that she is pregnant, but Jessica denies him. The scene then moves to the planet of the Imperial Army, where a battalion is getting ready to go to Arrakis and kill Leto and his family. They are the most lethal army in the known world, and they go by the name of Sadukar's army. The doctor brings Paul medicine to help with his allergies when he gets back to Arrakis. Baron has a deal with the doctor that the medicine will knock Paul out. Paul has no idea about this. He also gives Leto and Jessica medicine for sleep. Leto doesn't take it, but Jessica does. Later, Sadukar's army comes and attacks them. Leto wakes up and figures out what's going on, but the doctor hits him with a dart that slowly knocks him out before he can do anything. The Sadukar army causes chaos in the vicinity, catching the Atreides army off guard. The Sadukar quickly beat the Atreides because they have twice as many people and more weapons. At the same time, the doctor tells Leto that Baron took his wife, so he had to do what he says. The doctor gives Paul Leto's ring. He also puts a poisonous molar tooth in Leto's mouth and tells him that if he bites hard enough, the gas will kill everyone there. The Sadukar army takes Paul and Jessica as a hostage and plans to throw them in the sand. Her power lets her control others and get them to do what she says. So, they use their power to kill the people who took them. Paul finds a Fremkit that the doctor put there to ask for help. They then get away in the middle of the desert. Leto is unconscious and taken to Baron. The doctor is brutally murdered while asking Baron to free his wife. Baron assures Leto that his bloodline will end soon. When Leto realizes he has nowhere to go, he clenches teeth and releases a deadly gas that kills everyone in the room, including himself. Paul and Jessica set up a tent elsewhere with the kit. The doctor's note and Leto's ring are found. After finding the ring, they cry because Leto is dead. Next morning, Duncan asks Kynes to find Paul and Jessica. Once the deadly gas vanished, the Baron's soldier returns to the room in the palace. Baron has attached himself to the ceiling, which keeps him safe and surprises them. While this is happening, Paul begins to see visions of the upcoming holy battle as he becomes high on spice in the sand. He experiences excessive breathing as he imagines murdering millions of people. After wearing his father's ring, he becomes Duke of Atreides. Duncan soon finds them and kneels before Paul, calling him the Lord Duke. Kynes takes them all to a safer place. The old ecological station where they stay was supposed to supply Arrakis with water. It would have been a paradise on Arrakis if the project had worked, but the spice was found in the sand before the project was finished. With everyone's attention now on gathering the valuable spice, the project was cancelled. After a while, the Sadukar army arrives at the safe zone and kills everyone. Duncan risks his life to help Jessica and Paul. Paul yells at him to stop because he saw Duncan died in his vision, but Duncan persists because it is his duty to do so. He is killed in the end while fighting the army, but Jessica, Paul, and Kynes get away. Paul and Jessica get on an aircraft. Kynes tells them to go south to find the Freeman, who will help them with their cause. She is going to get on an aircraft from a different station. While they are flying away, Kynes is quickly captured by Sadakar army. Before they kill her, she makes a regular thumping sound on the ground. A sandworm comes and kills them all at once because of the noise. The enemy's aircraft then begin chasing Paul and Jessica. Their enemies think they're dead as Paul gets into an extreme sandstorm. The next scene shows Baron bathing in medicines to help his wounds heal from the poison gas. Rabin tells him that Leto and all of his family have died. Now that his enemy's house is gone, Baron is finally happy, so he tells Rabin to keep gathering spices and kill all the Freemen. Paul and Jessica have a crash in the desert somewhere else, but they are safe. After putting on the desert suit, they go find the Freemen and ask for help. Paul knows how Freemen walk so that they don't attract worms in their footsteps. Along the way, they walk all day, and Paul has visions of Freemen and a certain girl telling him not to give up. They stop to rest for a while when all of a sudden they hear a boom. Paul detects that there is a sandworm close by. They run to get away from the worm, but it follows them even faster. It comes out of the sand and is about to swallow them, but stops in the middle. A thumper had been set off to help them. Shortly after, the head of the Freeman Stilgar and his group surrounded them. They quickly say that they want to kill Paul and Jessica for the fluids inside them. Stilgar stopped and tells them that Paul is the Messiah they have been told about. The others don't believe him because they say Paul hasn't proven himself yet, which means he can't be the Messiah. One of them makes fun of Jessica by calling her old and weak. To show how strong she is, she holds the man hostage and risks his life. Stilgar then tells everyone to go to the CH tab, where Paul and Jessica's fate will be decided. The girl from Paul's visions comes up to him right then and says her name is Chani. Before they leave, a Freeman named Jameis insists on having a fight with Paul. Freeman's tradition says that a fight must end with someone's death. Paul beats Jameis easily because he has trained all his life, but he doesn't want to kill him because he has never killed anyone before. Finally, Paul kills the man with a knife and wins the fight. When they're done, they pack up Jameis's dead body and go to the CH tab. The movie ends with an amazing man riding a giant sandworm, and Chani tells Paul that this is just the beginning. Thank you for coming, and don't forget to subscribe. See you in the next video.